You have no right to speak about my children. Zora's voice cut through the visiting room like broken glass. No right to even think about them. Our children. Kang Minho leaned forward, his hands trembling on the metal table. Zora, they're mine. I can see it. They have my eyes, my mouth. They're... Your what? She laughed, bitter and sharp. Your eyes? Your mouth? Your complete absence of basic human decency? Yes, they're yours biologically. Congratulations on your genetic contribution. Now get out. This conversation happened in a detention center 2 hours north of Seoul. The woman speaking used to look at this man like he hung the moon. The man listening used to be Korea's most powerful construction magnate. But 4 years ago, he threw her away at a train station with an envelope of cash and words that tasted like poison. We'll go back where you came from. This was a mistake. He thought he'd never see her again. He was wrong. Because 3 hours before this confrontation, he discovered something that shattered his carefully constructed empire into pieces. 3 identical boys, maybe 4 years old, sitting in a deportation facility with his eyes in her smile. His sons. The children he didn't know existed. And when he found out what his cowardice had cost him, he did something no one saw coming. He burned his entire world down. Before we continue, I want to know where you're watching this from. Drop your country or city in the comments. This channel is growing into a beautiful community of people who believe in powerful stories with real messages, and I'd love for you to be part of it. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video if you're already hooked, and share it with someone who needs to hear a story about second chances and redemption. Trust me, this one will stay with you long after it ends. Now let's get back to how a man lost everything and found out it was the best thing that ever happened to him. 3 hours earlier, Kang Minho stood outside a government facility in the industrial district of Incheon, a place he'd never noticed before despite driving past it hundreds of times. The building squatted ugly and gray against the autumn sky. Chain-link fences topped with razor wire. Security cameras pointing in every direction. A sign by the entrance read, Immigration, Detention, and Processing Center in both Korean and English. His assistant, Young Dae-soo, shifted uncomfortably beside him. Sir, the administrator is waiting inside. He said this is regarding the construction contract for the new facility expansion. Should be a straightforward meeting. Minho nodded, but something felt wrong. His stomach twisted in a way it hadn't since his father died, since the night he walked away from Zora. They entered through security, metal detectors, ID checks, visitor badges clipped to expensive suit jackets that felt obscene in this place of cinder blocks and fluorescent lights. The administrator met them in the lobby, a thin man with tired eyes and a clipboard clutched like a shield. Mr. Kang, thank you for coming personally. I'm Administrator Cho. He extended a hand. We're very interested in your company's bid for the facility expansion. If you'll follow me, I can show you the current layout and discuss our needs. They walked through corridors that smelled like industrial cleaner trying to mask despair. Linoleum floors cracked from age, paint peeling in corners. Minho's Italian leather shoes clicked too loud against the silence. Cho kept talking about square footage and timelines and budget constraints, but Minho barely heard him. Then they passed an observation corridor, floor-to-ceiling windows looking into a large room, and Minho stopped walking, stopped breathing, stopped existing as the person he'd been 3 seconds ago. Children sat in rows on plastic chairs, maybe 30 of them, different ages, different nationalities, all wearing the same expression of confused fear. And there, in the third row near the back, 3 boys sat pressed close together, identical except for the different colored shirts someone had dressed them in. Red, blue, Sina yellow. The one in blue had his mother's exact expression when she was trying not to cry. That thing she did where her bottom lip trembled just slightly before she controlled it. The one in red tilted his head the same way Minho did when he was thinking, and the one in yellow had both their features blended so perfectly it hurt to look at him. Mr. Kang, are you all right? Cho's voice came from somewhere far away. The coffee cup in Minho's hand fell. It hit the floor in slow motion, brown liquid spreading across white linoleum. The sound echoed down the corridor. Those children, his voice came out strangled. Who are they? Cho glanced through the window. Oh, that's the deportation holding room. We keep the minors separate from adults during processing. These are scheduled for Friday's transport. Mix of different cases. Why do you ask? Or the three boys in the back. Minho's fingers shook as he pointed. The identical ones. What's their case? Cho checked his clipboard, flipping through pages. Let's see. Oh yes, the Okafor triplets. Mother's a Nigerian national. Overstayed student visa by 3 years. Got picked up during a workplace raid last week. The boys were born here, but since the mother has no legal status and there's no father listed on the birth certificates, they fall under her jurisdiction. Whole family gets deported Friday morning. The world tilted. Minho grabbed the wall for support. Born here. 4 years old according to the file notes. No father listed. Friday deportation. Zora. Her name in his mind like a prayer. Like a curse. I need. He couldn't finish the sentence. Couldn't think past the roaring in his ears. Sir? Young Desu grabbed his elbow. Aunt, you look pale. Should we postpone this meeting? The boy in blue started crying. Silent tears that carved rivers down his dusty cheeks. His brothers wrapped thin arms around him. No staff member looked up from their paperwork. No one came to comfort them. They just held each other the way people do when they've learned the world won't help. Something in Minho's chest cracked open. 4 years of careful control. 4 years of pretending he'd made the right choice. 4 years of building an empire on the foundation of walking away from the only woman who'd ever made him feel human. All of it shattered like the coffee cup at his feet. Cancel the meeting. His voice came out flat. Cold. Sir? Cho blinked. But we haven't discussed the contract. Your company's bid is very competitive and... Cancel everything. Minho turned to face the administrator. Every government contract we hold, every negotiation in progress, I want it all canceled by end of business today. Mr. Kang, I don't understand. Cho's face went pale. The expansion project alone is worth... I want those 3 boys released. Minho pointed through the glass. Into my custody. Today. That's... Cho stammered. That's not how this works. There are procedures, legal channels. They're foreign nationals without proper documentation. The mother entered on a student visa that expired 3 years ago. We can't just... Yes, you can. Minho pulled out his phone. His fingers shook as he scrolled through contacts. Politicians who owed him favors. Judges who owed him money. Prosecutors who owed him silence. By end of business today, those children will be released to my custody. Yeah, their mother will be transferred to a proper facility with legal representation, and you will personally ensure they're fed, cleaned, and kept together until I return with the paperwork. Do you understand? Something in his voice made Cho step back. Mr. Kang, even with your resources, immigration law is federal. The deportation order is already signed. To overturn it would require multiple agencies, court orders, and... Then I suggest you start making calls. Minho's eyes never left the boys through the glass. Because if anything happens to those children, if they're harmed or separated or deported, I will make it my life's mission to destroy every person in the chain of command. Do we have an understanding? Cho swallowed hard. I'll see what I can do. Jung, Minho turned to his assistant. Get our legal team on the phone. All of them. I don't care if they're in meetings or on vacation or getting married. I want them working on this now. Sir, Young's normally composed face showed shock. What's happening? Who are those children? They're mine. The words felt huge in his mouth. Those are my sons, and I'm about to burn every bridge I've built to get them back. The next 4 hours happened in a blur of phone calls that cost him everything. Each conversation a bridge deliberately set on fire. Call 1, his head of legal, dropped the Songdo development case. Yes, I know we're 3 weeks from closing. I don't care about the 30 billion one. Drop it. Call 2, the Minister of Land's office. Withdraw our bid for the government housing contract. No, this isn't a negotiation tactic. We're out. Permanently. Call 3. Mayor Park, I need a favor. No. I won't be supporting your re-election campaign. Actually, I'm calling in every favor you've ever owed me for something that matters. Call 4. His mother. I found out I have sons. 3 of them. They're in a deportation facility, and I'm going to stop it. No, I don't care what this does to the family name. No, I won't reconsider. I'm done living the life you designed, she screamed through the phone, decades of carefully maintained control shattering. You will not jeopardize everything your father built for some woman who got herself into legal trouble. Do you understand what association with immigration violations will do to your reputation? To our business relationships? I don't care about my reputation. He'd never meant anything more. I don't care about the business or the relationships or any of it. I care about my sons who are sitting in a facility terrified because I was too much of a coward to stand up to you 4 years ago. How dare you speak to me like, I'm done, Mother. The words came out quiet. Final. With all of it. The company can burn. The reputation can crumble. I should have chosen her 4 years ago, and I'm choosing them now. Even if it's too late. Even if she never forgives me. He ended the call. Blocked her number. Felt something like freedom. Call 5 through 17. Every connection he'd spent 15 years building. Every alliance. Every careful relationship. He cashed them all in for one thing. Emergency custody, deportation stay, access to Zora. By the time the sun started setting, Jung sat across from him in the car looking 10 years older. Sir, do you understand what you've done? The board is calling for an emergency meeting. Your business partners are threatening lawsuits. The stock price has dropped 12% in 4 hours. You've destroyed relationships that took decades to build. Did we get the emergency stay? Minho asked. The hearing is tomorrow morning. Jung rubbed his face. We called in every favor. But immigration law doesn't care about connections. It cares about documentation and legal status. And, will I get my sons? Jung met his eyes. I don't know. But I've been working for you for 8 years, and I've never seen you fight for anything the way you're fighting for this. Because nothing else ever mattered. Minho looked out the window at the city he'd conquered. The skyline dotted with buildings his company had developed. An empire built on strategic cruelty and careful distance. Had all of it hollow. Where is she? The mother. Huashong Women's Detention Center. About 2 hours north. But sir, visiting hours end at 8, and you'd need to be on the approved list, which takes 48 hours to process. Get me on that list. Minho checked his watch. And get me there tonight. I don't care what it costs. They made it with 20 minutes to spare. The Huashong facility looked like the Inshan one, but worse. Older. Grimmer. The smell of industrial cleaner and despair thicker in the air. A guard led Minho through 3 sets of locked doors to a visiting room where inmates met with lawyers. 20-minute maximum, the guard said, and no physical contact. She sits on that side of the table. You sit on this side. Minho sat in a metal chair bolted to the floor. The table between him and the empty chair across was scarred with initials and desperate messages carved into steel. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Then the door opened and she walked in. Zora looked smaller than he remembered. The curves he used to trace in the dark had sharpened to angles. Her hair was wrapped in a faded cloth that had once been vibrant orange, but was now the color of rust. She wore a gray detention uniform that hung loose on her frame. But her eyes, those eyes that had looked at him 4 years ago with so much love it terrified him. They were exactly the same except now they held something that made his chest cave in. Recognition first, then hatred so pure it was almost beautiful. She sat down, didn't speak, didn't. She just waited with the patience of someone who'd learned the world would take what it wanted regardless of her words. Zora. His voice cracked on her name. That's not my name anymore. Her Igbo accent was thicker than he remembered, probably from fear, from exhaustion. In here I'm just a number. Inmate 4728. Funny how that works, isn't it? You spend years trying to become someone, and then they reduce you to digits. I saw them. The words rushed out. The boys, I saw our... You have no right to speak about my children. Each word came out precise and sharp as glass. No right to even think about them. Our children. He leaned forward. The guard by the door shifted. Zora, they're mine. I can see it. They have my eyes, my mouth. Your what? She laughed bitter and broken. Your eyes? Your mouth? Your complete absence of basic human decency? Yes, they're yours biologically. Congratulations on your genetic contribution. Now get out. I want to help. His hands reached across the table but stopped short of touching her. I'm getting them released. I have lawyers working on your case. I can fix this. Fix this? Her voice rose. The guard tensed. You think you can fix this? Do you have any idea what the last 4 years have been like? I didn't know you were pregnant. He tried. You didn't tell me. I tried to tell you. She stood abruptly. The metal chair screeched against concrete. I called 17 times the week after you threw me away like garbage. You blocked my number. I went to your office building. Your secretary had security remove me. They dragged me through that marble lobby while people stared. While your colleagues laughed. I sent letters. They came back unopened with return to sender stamped across my handwriting. Zora, please sit down. I have 20 minutes. Let you what? She gripped the edge of the table. Her knuckles went bone white. Explain? Apologize? Tell me how you've changed? I don't care if you've changed, Minho. I don't care if you're sorry. I care about my sons being ripped away from me. I care about them spending 3 days in that facility, eating expired food and sleeping on concrete floors. I care about the fact that we're being deported to a country they've never been to, because I made the mistake of loving someone who saw me as disposable. You were never disposable. The words sounded hollow even to him. I was wrong. Everything I said to you that night at the train station. Everything I did. Hutchana, I was a coward who cared more about what my family thought, what society would say, than about the person who actually mattered. Cool story. She turned toward the door. Guard, I'm done here. Wait. Minho stood. The chair scraped loud. Just tell me what happened after I left. After you found out you were pregnant. What happened? She stopped. Her back to him, shoulders shaking. Please. His voice broke. I need to know. She turned slowly. Tears filled her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. You want to know? Fine. I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks after you destroyed me at that train station. 2 weeks after you told me to go back where I came from. That loving me was a mistake. That I was trash your mother was right to pay to disappear. I never called you. Yes, you did. Her voice went quiet, deadly. Maybe not with those exact words. But when you handed me that envelope of cash and told me this was for the best, that I didn't belong in your world, what do you think that meant? You called me trash without saying the word, which somehow made it worse. The guard cleared his throat. 5 minutes. I tried so hard to reach you, Zora continued, because despite everything you'd said, I thought you deserved to know. Thought maybe if you knew about the baby you'd... She laughed without humor. God, I was so stupid. When your security threw me out of your building, I finally understood. You didn't want to know. You'd made your choice. What did you do? Minho whispered. What do you think I did? I survived. She sank back into the chair. Gave up my apartment because I couldn't afford it. Moved to a boarding house in Ansan with 12 other people. And worked at a restaurant under the table washing dishes. Worked at a convenience store on night shifts. Worked doing translations online for Korean students. 3 jobs while my belly grew and grew. Alone. The word hurt coming out. Completely alone. My family's in Lagos. Couldn't afford to go home. Couldn't tell them I was pregnant and abandoned because the shame would kill my mother. So yes. Alone. The birth. He almost couldn't ask. Were you alone for that too? Her smile was terrible, except for one nurse who spoke English, and the shock of finding out I wasn't having 1 baby. I was having 3. Triplets. Minho's voice came out strangled. You're boys. She looked at him directly. Chidi came first, screaming and perfect. Then Kalechi 2 minutes later. Then Obiora 3 minutes after that. And I held them and I loved them. And I was absolutely terrified because how do you raise 3 babies when you're illegal and broke? And the father wants nothing to do with you. How did you manage? Badly. A tear escaped. She wiped it away angry. I managed badly. We lived in 1 room. The boys shared a mattress on the floor. I worked nights while a neighbor watched them for almost nothing because she felt sorry for us. I fed them before I fed myself. Kept the heat off to save money. Watched them cry from hunger and couldn't do anything about it. Zora. He reached for her. Don't, she pulled back. Don't you dare try to comfort me now. You don't get to feel bad about consequences you created. Those boys are 4 years old and they've never had enough. Never had a birthday party, never had new clothes, never had their own beds. Maybe because their father was too ashamed of their African mother to claim them? I didn't know they existed because you made sure you wouldn't know. She stood again. Time's up and we're done here. Go back to your empire and your perfect life. Forget we exist. You're good at that. I broke off my engagement. The words rushed out desperate. I refused to go through with the marriage my mother arranged. I told her everything about you, about our sons, about how I destroyed the only real thing in my life for an empire I never wanted. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know I'm serious. He stood too. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I know what I did is unforgivable, but those boys deserve a father, and I want to be that. I want to know them. I want to help. I want doesn't matter. Her voice went flat. Like you wanted me gone 4 years ago. You got what you wanted. Now I want you gone. And unlike you, I actually have the moral authority to make that demand. Time's up, the guard called. Let's go, inmate. Zora. Minho's voice broke completely. Please, I know I don't deserve anything from you. I know I threw away every right I had. But those boys are sitting in a facility scheduled for deportation in 3 days, and I can stop it. Let me stop it. Let me help them, even if you never forgive me. She paused at the door, looked back at him with eyes that held 4 years of pain. You want to help? Then do what you do best, Minho. Walk away. Forget we exist. Go back to being Korea's perfect son. It's what everyone wants anyway. The door clanged shut behind her. Minho stood in that horrible visiting room with its scarred table and its hopeless air, and understood for the first time what it meant to lose everything that actually mattered. His phone buzzed. 17 missed calls. His mother, the board of directors, business partners, the media somehow already circling the story of his breakdown. He ignored all of it and walked back through the locked doors to his car. Jung waited in the driver's seat. How did it go? She hates me. Minho got in, stared straight ahead. She has every right to hate me, and I'm going to spend however long it takes earning a forgiveness I don't deserve. What do you need me to do? Prepare for the hearing tomorrow and find out everything about what her life has been like these 4 years, where she lived, where she worked, how she survived. Oh, I want to know every detail of what my cowardice cost them. Sir, Jung hesitated. Are you sure about this? Once you go down this path, there's no coming back. Your reputation, your business, your family relationships, all of it will be destroyed. It already is destroyed. Minho finally looked at him. I destroyed it 4 years ago when I chose pride over love. I'm just finally dealing with the consequences. Now drive. We have 16 hours until that hearing, and I need to make sure I don't lose my sons before I even get a chance to meet them. Have you thought about second chances in your own life? Moments when you wish you could go back and choose differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story is hitting you emotionally, hit that like button. It helps more people find these messages about redemption and change. Well, we're just getting to the most intense part, so stay with me. The hearing was scheduled for 9 a.m. in immigration court. Minho arrived at 7:30. He'd been awake for 48 hours straight. His suit was the same one from yesterday, slightly wrinkled now, his face unshaven, eyes red from exhaustion and something that might have been crying, though he'd never admit it. Jung met him outside with a folder thick with documents. We got the emergency custody petition filed. The judge is someone we've worked with before on construction permits. She's fair, but she follows the law to the letter. And the deportation stay? That's harder. Jung's expression was grim. The deportation order was signed by a federal immigration officer. To overturn it, we need to prove immediate harm or humanitarian crisis. Being a Korean national father helps. But since you're not on the birth certificates and there's been no relationship established, it's complicated. Then uncomplicated. Minho took the folder. What do I need to do? Convince the judge that keeping this family together serves the best interest of the children. That deportation would cause irreparable harm. that you're genuinely committed to being their father, not just preventing a scandal. I am committed, then you need to make her believe it. Because Zora's legal aid attorney is going to argue that you're a wealthy man trying to take children from their mother. That this is about control, not love. The courtroom was smaller than Minho expected. Institutional beige walls, fluorescent lighting that made everyone look ill. He sat in the front row, hands clasped so tight his knuckles ached. They brought Zora in first. She wore borrowed clothes. Someone from legal aid, probably. A simple black dress that didn't fit right. Too loose in the waist. Too tight in the shoulders. Her hair was wrapped differently. Neater, like she'd tried to armor herself in dignity for this battle. She saw him and her expression went carefully blank. Then she looked away. Sat at the table with her attorney, a young woman with tired eyes who probably handled 20 cases like this a week. Then they brought in the boys, all three of them holding hands in a chain. Someone had found them matching shirts. White button-downs that were slightly too big. Their hair was combed, their faces clean, but their eyes. Their eyes held something no 4-year-old should carry. The exhaustion of being afraid for too long. The smallest one. Chidi based on the file Jung had prepared. He saw Zora and made a sound that broke something in Minho's chest. A sob that was mostly relief. Just Mama said with so much need it hurt to hear. The guards let them go. All three boys ran to their mother. She dropped to her knees and gathered them in. Arms wrapped around three small bodies. Her face buried in their hair. And Minho watched the only family he'd ever wanted hold each other, while he sat on the outside exactly where he'd put himself. All rise, the bailiff called, the Honorable Judge Kim presiding. Everyone stood. An older woman with steel gray hair and reading glasses entered. She sat at the bench, looked over the papers in front of her with an expression that gave nothing away. Be seated. This is case number 2024-1847, Republic of Korea versus Zora Okafor. Also present, petition for emergency custody by Kang Minho. Let's proceed. The prosecutor spoke first. A middle-aged man with a briefcase and the efficiency of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. Your Honor, this is a straightforward deportation case. Ms. Okafor entered the Republic of Korea on a student visa in 2019. That visa expired in 2021. She remained in the country illegally for 3 years. She worked without proper authorization. She gave birth to 3 children while undocumented. The law is clear on these violations. Judge Kim nodded. Ms. Okafor, do you dispute these facts? Zora's attorney stood. Your Honor, my client acknowledges the visa violation. However, we're asking the court to consider the humanitarian aspects of this case. 3 Korean national children face deportation to a country they've never been to. A country where they have no family, no support system, no future. This constitutes irreparable harm. The children's nationality is derived from their mother, the prosecutor countered. Ms. Okafor is Nigerian. The children were born to an undocumented mother. Therefore, they fall under her jurisdiction. Actually, Judge Kim removed her glasses. There's a petition here from, she checked the papers, Kang Minho, claiming paternity of the 3 minors. Mr. Kang, are you present? Minho stood. His legs felt weak. Yes, Your Honor. You're claiming to be the biological father of Chidi, Kelechi, and Obiora Okafor? Yes, Your Honor. And yet you're not listed on any birth certificate. You've provided no prior support. There's no documentation of relationship with these children or their mother. Can you explain this absence? The courtroom went silent. Zora stared straight ahead. The boys sat quiet in the front row, too young to understand but old enough to sense the tension. I didn't know they existed, Your Honor. Minho's voice came out steady, stronger than he felt. Their mother attempted to inform me of her pregnancy 4 years ago, and I refused contact. I blocked her phone number. I had security remove her from my office building when she tried to reach me in person. I returned her letters unopened. This failure is entirely my responsibility. Judge Kim leaned forward. You're admitting you deliberately avoided contact with a woman who was trying to inform you of a pregnancy? Yes, Your Honor. Why? The question hung in the air. Minho could feel every eye in the courtroom on him, could feel Zora's hatred like a physical thing. who could feel his son's futures balanced on his next words. Because I was ashamed. The admission tasted like poison. Ms. Okafor and I had a relationship 4 years ago. When my family found out about her nationality and background, they disapproved. My mother offered her money to leave. Ms. Okafor refused. He swallowed hard. So I ended the relationship in the cruelest way possible. I told her she didn't belong in my world. I gave her money and walked away. When she tried to contact me after, I made sure she couldn't reach me because I didn't want to deal with the consequences of my choices. Judge Kim was quiet for a long moment. And now you want custody? I want what's best for my sons. Minho looked at the boys. Chidi was watching him with huge dark eyes. If that means supporting their mother's petition to remain in the country as a family unit, I'll provide whatever resources necessary. If it means shared custody, I'll agree to any terms Ms. Okafor sets. I'm not here to take them from their mother. I'm here to prevent them from being deported because of mistakes I made. Ms. Okafor, Judge Kim turned to Zora. What is your position on the father's involvement? Zora stood slowly. Her hands shook slightly. She clasped them together. Your Honor, I don't trust him. He abandoned me once, and I have no reason to believe he won't do it again. But my children deserve stability. They deserve safety. They were born in this country. They speak Korean. They've never been to Nigeria. If his resources can help us stay together in the country where they were born, then I won't refuse help. Not for me. I would refuse for me. But for them, I'll accept whatever keeps my family together. Something in Minho's throat closed up. Even now, even hating him. She was choosing their sons first. Judge Kim made notes. Mr. Kang, you claim paternity, but there's no DNA test, no legal documentation. Why should this court believe you? Because I see myself in their faces, Minho said quietly. The way Chidi tilts his head when he's thinking. The way Kalechi watches everything before acting. The way Obira has both our features blended perfectly. But beyond that, I'm willing to submit to paternity testing immediately. I'll provide any documentation the court requires. I'll open my financial records to prove I can support them. Whatever it takes, the prosecutor stood. Your Honor, even if paternity is established, this doesn't change the fact that Ms. Okafor violated immigration law. We can't set a precedent that having a child with a Korean national exempts someone from consequences. We're not talking about exemption, Zora's attorney countered. We're talking about 3 children who are Korean nationals through their father, who have a right to remain in their country of birth. Separating them from their mother serves no purpose except cruelty. Judge Kim held up a hand. I've heard enough. This court will recess for 30 minutes while I review the documentation. All rise. The judge left. The courtroom exhaled collectively. Minho sat back down. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Jung appeared at his elbow with water. You did well. Jung's voice was low. The judge is considering it. That's more than we hoped for. Across the aisle, Zora was holding all 3 boys and whispering to them in Igbo. Chidi was crying quietly. Kalechi looked angry. Obiora just seemed confused. And Minho sat 10 feet away from his children, unable to comfort them, because he'd given up that right 4 years ago. Mama, Kalechi's voice carried in the quiet courtroom, are they sending us away? I don't know, baby. Zora's voice broke. Mama's trying to stop it. Is that man really our papa? Obiora pointed at Minho. Zora looked over, met Minho's eyes. The hatred had faded to something more complicated. Exhaustion, maybe? Resignation? Yes, that's your father. Why doesn't he live with us? Chidi asked. Because, Zora paused, because grown-ups make mistakes sometimes, and his mistake was leaving us. The words hit like bullets. True, deserved, devastating. Can he fix it? Kalechi the skeptic, the one who questioned everything. Nor can he fix his mistake? I don't know. Zora pulled them closer. Some mistakes are too big to fix. Mama says if something's important, you don't give up, Chidi said, loud enough for the whole courtroom to hear. You try and try and try. From the corner of his eye, Minho saw Zora's shoulders shake, saw her bury her face in Chidi's hair, saw her crying silently into their white button-down shirts while her sons tried to comfort her. All rise. The bailiff's voice cut through the moment. Judge Kim has returned. Everyone stood. The judge entered, sat, arranged papers with deliberate care. This court recognizes the complexity of the situation. Her voice carried authority. 3 Korean national minors facing deportation to a country of which they are not citizens, based solely on their mother's immigration status. When this represents a serious humanitarian concern, Minho's heart hammered against his ribs. However, Judge Kim continued, this court also recognizes that immigration law exists for specific purposes and personal hardship, while regrettable, does not automatically override legal violations. No, he destroyed everything. It couldn't be for nothing. Therefore, I am issuing a 60-day emergency stay of deportation for Ms. Zora Okafor and her 3 minor children. During this period, Ms. Okafor will work with immigration services to resolve her status. Mr. Kang will undergo paternity testing to establish legal parentage. If confirmed, we will reconvene to discuss custody arrangements and the children's citizenship status as Korean nationals through paternal lineage. The gavel came down. 60 days. They had 60 days. Zora made a sound, half sob, half laugh. Her attorney hugged her while the boys clung to her legs, not understanding, but feeding off their mother's relief. Mr. Kang, Judge Kim looked at him directly. I'm granting you supervised visitation starting immediately. 2 hours today. After paternity is confirmed, we'll discuss expanded access. Use this time wisely. These children have been through enough chaos. Thank you, Your Honor. The words felt too small. Thank you. Court is adjourned. Outside, media had gathered. Cameras, microphones. Questions shouted from every direction. Disgraced construction heir. Secret African children. Immigration scandal. Minho's security team formed a barrier, but it was chaos. Then he saw Zora trying to navigate through the crowd with 3 terrified boys and nothing else mattered. He pushed through to her side. Let me help, please. Just let me get you out of here safely. She looked at him, calculating, weighing options. Fine, but just through the crowd. Then you leave us alone? His car was armored, tinted windows. The driver knew to take directions without questions. Minho shepherded Zora and the boys inside while security held back the press. The door closed. Sudden silence except for the boys' frightened breathing. It's okay, Zora murmured in Igbo. We're safe now. Just a car ride. The boys stared at everything. The leather seats, the privacy partition, the bottled water in holders, like they'd never been in a nice car before. They probably hadn't. Kelechi looked at Minho with narrow eyes. You're rich. It wasn't a question. Just an observation delivered with a 4-year-old's brutal honesty. Yes, Minho said carefully. I have money. Mama says rich people don't care about poor people. Kelechi crossed his arms. She says they think we're not important. Zora closed her eyes. Kelechi? That's not. She's right. Minho cut her off. Some rich people think that way. I used to think that way. And I was wrong. So you're not like that anymore? The skepticism in Kelechi's voice was clear. I'm trying not to be. Minho met the 4-year-old's gaze. I'm trying to be better, but your mama's right to teach you to be careful. People should earn your trust, not expect it. Obiora, the quiet one, suddenly spoke up. Are you the man Mama cries about? Everything stopped. The car felt too small, too hot. Zora went rigid. Obi, she said sharply, that's not. You do cry about him, Chidi chimed in. At night sometimes. Wish you think we're sleeping, but I hear you. You say a man made you sad. Is that him? Minho couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Yes, Zora said finally, quietly. That's him. Why did you make Mama sad? Chidi turned to Minho directly. Because I was stupid. The words came out rough. I made the worst mistake anyone could make. I hurt your mama when I should have protected her. Are you going to hurt her again? Obiora asked. No. He looked at Zora when he said it. Never again. I promise you. Promises are easy, Kelechi said. Still skeptical. Still protecting his mother. Mama says people promise lots of things and then leave anyway. Your mama's right. Minho felt something crack in his chest. Promises are easy. That's why I'm not just going to promise. I'm going to show you. Every single day, however long it takes. How do you show us you won't leave? Chidi asked. By not leaving. By showing up when I say I will. By being there when you need me. By proving with actions, not words. The car pulled up to a building in Ansan. Old, paint peeling, laundry hanging from balconies. A far cry from the Gangnam Towers Minho called home. "This is us," Zora said. "Thank you for the ride." "Wait." Minho pulled out his phone. "The judge said I have 2 hours of supervised visitation today. Can I?" He hesitated. "Can I come inside? Meet them properly?" Zora looked at her sons. At the building. At him. Her expression unreadable. 1 hour, not 2. And if you upset them or make promises you can't keep, you leave. Understood? Understood. The apartment was smaller than his office bathroom. One room with a kitchenette in the corner. A mattress on the floor where all 3 boys clearly slept. A table with mismatched chairs. Clothes folded neatly in plastic bins. Everything was clean but worn. Loved but insufficient. This is what his cowardice had cost them. This cramped space, this struggle, this life of barely enough. "You can sit there," Zora pointed to the table. "Boys, go wash your hands." The 3 of them disappeared behind a curtain that apparently led to a bathroom. Minho sat. The chair wobbled. "I know what you're thinking," Zora said quietly. "That this place is terrible, that we're living in poverty, that you could give us so much more." "I wasn't thinking that." "Liar." But her voice held no heat. "This place is terrible. We are living in poverty. But it's ours. We survived here. And I won't let you make me feel ashamed of it. You should never feel ashamed." Ismino looked at her. "You kept 3 children alive in impossible circumstances. You worked 3 jobs. You did everything alone. There's no shame in survival, only strength." She studied him. "Don't try to charm me with pretty words. I'm not trying to charm you. I'm telling the truth." The boys tumbled back in, hands presumably washed. They stood in a line staring at Minho like he was a puzzle to solve. "Okay," Zora sat on the mattress. "You have 1 hour. What do you want to know about your sons?" "Everything." But he started simple. "What do they like?" "Chidi likes trucks. Any kind. He can name every construction vehicle." Zora's voice softened talking about them. "Kalechi likes numbers. He counts everything. Obiora likes drawing. He's good at it too." "Can I see?" Minho looked at Obiora. The boy hesitated. Then went to a plastic bin and pulled out papers. Drawings in crayon and pencil. A family. 3 boys and a woman. No father figure. "These are beautiful." Minho meant it. "You're talented." "Mama says I can be an artist when I grow up," Obiora said quietly. "You can be anything you want," Minho told him. "All of you can." "Can we be rich?" Kalechi asked bluntly. Zora made a sound. "Kalechi, that's not." "It's okay." Minho looked at the skeptical 4-year-old. "You want to know if having a rich father means you'll be rich too?" "Yeah, money doesn't work that way." Minho chose his words carefully. "I have money, but that doesn't automatically become yours. What I can do is make sure you have what you need. Food, a safe place to live, good schools, but being rich, that's something you build yourself when you're older." "Mama says we have to work hard for things," Chidi offered. "That nothing's free. Your mama is right. She's right about most things." "Not most things," Zora corrected. "All things." The boys giggled. The sound filled the small apartment with something that felt like hope. The hour passed faster than any business meeting ever had. Chidi showed Minho his toy trucks. 5 of them. All second-hand but treasured. Kalechi counted the buttons on Minho's shirt and informed him there were 8. Obiora drew a picture of a man in a suit, and when Minho asked who it was, he said, "You, our papa." The word papa felt too big for Minho's chest. "Time's up," Zora announced. "Too soon." "Already?" Chidi protested. "But Papa didn't see my best truck yet." Papa. Like it was natural. Like he'd always been there. "I can come back," Minho said carefully. "If your mama says it's okay, I can come back tomorrow. Or whenever she allows." All 3 boys turned to Zora with pleading eyes. "We'll see," she said, which every parent knows means maybe. Minho stood, pulled out his wallet, then stopped. Money. He always thought money solved things. But these children didn't need cash thrown at them. They needed consistency, presence, a father who showed up. "Can I bring dinner next time?" he asked Zora. "For all of you, whatever the boys like." "They like chicken," Chidi announced, "the fried kind from the place downstairs. Then I'll bring chicken." Minho looked at Zora. "Tomorrow evening? 6 o'clock? 1 hour again?" She hesitated, then nodded. 1 hour. Don't be late. I won't be." He left the apartment, walked down 2 flights of stairs, got in his car, and sat in the driver's seat shaking. Those were his sons, his children, and he'd missed 4 years of their lives because he'd been a coward. Young was waiting with updates. "The paternity test is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Results in 48 hours. Your mother has released a statement to the press disowning you. The board voted to remove you as CEO effective immediately." "Okay," Young blinked. "Okay, that's all you have to say? What do you want me to say?" Minho started the car. "I knew this would happen. I chose it. Those boys in that apartment matter more than a company, more than a reputation, more than anything else. What now? Now I show up tomorrow at 6 with chicken, and the day after that, and the day after that, however long it takes. Before we continue, I need to ask you something. Have you ever had to earn back trust you destroyed? Had to prove yourself to someone you hurt? Share your story in the comments. And if you're feeling this story, if it's making you think about second chances and redemption, hit that like button. We're heading into the transformation part now. The part where actions speak louder than words. Stay with me. The paternity test results came back in 48 hours. Positive, obviously. Minho had known from the moment he saw them, but having legal confirmation felt different. Final. He was a father. He had sons. 3 of them. The results unlocked expanded visitation, 3 hours a day. Any location Zora approved. He showed up every single time. 6 o'clock exactly. Never early because that felt pushy. Never late because that would prove every fear Zora had. Day 3. He brought the chicken as promised. Watched his sons devour it like they hadn't eaten all day. Probably hadn't eaten well. He didn't comment, just made a note. Made many notes. Day 7. Kalechi asked him to help with counting practice. They counted everything in the apartment. 32 tiles on the floor, 18 cracks in the ceiling, 3 boys who were starting to smile when he arrived. Day 12. Obiora drew him into a family picture. 5 people now instead of 4. Minho kept that drawing, had it framed, put it beside his bed so it was the first thing he saw every morning. Day 18. Chidi asked if Minho could do bedtime story. Zora hesitated, then nodded. They read about trucks and dragons, and Minho did all the voices wrong, but the boys didn't care. Day 23. Kalechi stopped being skeptical quite so loudly. May started saving questions for when Papa visits. Day 30. The 60-day deadline was halfway gone. Immigration Services approved Zora for a student visa renewal. She enrolled at Korea University for a graduate program in international development. Minho offered to pay. She refused. He set up a scholarship fund anonymously that she'd qualify for. She'd find out eventually, but by then it would be too late to refuse. Day 45. Obiora asked if they could go to a park. Zora agreed, but insisted on coming. They went to a small park in Ansan. Minho pushed swings, built sandcastles, let Chidi bury his expensive shoes in sand. Watched Zora watch him with an expression that wasn't quite hatred anymore. Day 53. After the boys were asleep, Zora spoke to him alone for the first time since the detention center. They stood in the small apartment kitchen. Barely room for 2 people. "You really gave up everything," she said. "Not a question, a statement. I heard about the company. Your board ousted you. Your mother publicly disowned you. You lost billions in investments." "I didn't lose anything that mattered," he said simply. "That's easy to say now." She crossed her arms. "What happens when the novelty wears off? When you resent us for costing you your empire?" "Zora, look at me." He waited until she met his eyes. "That empire was built on my father's expectations and my own ego. It was hollow. Every success felt empty. Every achievement meant nothing because I'd thrown away the only real thing I ever had. You threw me away because I wasn't good enough for your world. Her voice cracked. Well, because my skin was too dark and my accent too thick and my family too poor and too African. Don't pretend it was about anything else. You're right. The admission hurt. I was racist and classist, and I cared more about appearances than I cared about loving you the way you deserved. I can't undo that. I can't take back the person I was, but I can be different now. I am different now. People don't change that fundamentally. Maybe not. He took a breath. Or maybe losing everything teaches you what actually has value. I'm not asking you to love me again. I'm not even asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to let me be a father to our sons and to prove that I'm not that coward anymore. She was quiet for a long time. They love you already. Chidi talks about you constantly. Even Kalechi asked yesterday when you were coming back. I love them. His voice broke. I love them so much it terrifies me. I look at them and I see you, and I see the 4 years I lost, and it makes me want to burn the world down. You kind of did burn it down, she almost smiled. Your empire. You actually destroyed it for us. Best decision I ever made. Second best, she corrected. The best decision would have been not abandoning me in the first place. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Zora. For everything. She turned away, but not before he saw tears. Stop being perfect now. It's confusing. I'm not perfect. I'm just trying. That's what's confusing, she whispered. Day 60. The final immigration hearing. Zora's attorney had prepared a comprehensive case. Established paternity, Korean national children, father willing to provide support, a mother with no criminal record beyond visa violations, student visa renewed. The prosecution argued policy, immigration law violations must have consequences, allowing special treatment sets dangerous precedent. Judge Kim reviewed everything with the same unreadable expression. I'm approving Ms. Okafor's student visa renewal, she said finally. The children will be recognized as Korean nationals through paternal lineage. Custody will be shared with primary residence with the mother. This court expects both parents to prioritize the children's welfare and stability. The gavel came down. They'd won. Zora made that sound again, half sob, half laugh. Relief and disbelief. The boys didn't fully understand, but they felt their mother's joy, and that was enough. Outside the courthouse, Zora called her sister in Nigeria. Minho could hear screaming celebration through the phone. The boys jumped around her legs, feeding off the energy. We can stay? Chidi asked. Really stay? Really stay, Zora confirmed, crying and laughing simultaneously. Does that mean he's our daddy for real? Obiora pointed at Minho. Yes, Minho said before Zora could answer, then looked at her. If that's okay. If you'll let me. She studied him. 4 years of pain and 60 days of tentative hope written across her face. You'll keep showing up? Keep being consistent? Keep putting them first? Every day, I promise. And I know promises are just words, but I'll keep proving it with actions. If you hurt them, I won't. I swear on everything I am, I won't. Chidi grabbed his hand. Come celebrate with us. Mama said we can get ice cream. Ochin and Minho let his 4-year-old son pull him down the courthouse steps toward a future he didn't deserve, but would spend his life earning. 8 months passed like water through fingers. Minho sold his penthouse, the one his mother had insisted he buy to impress business associates. He bought a modest house instead. Nothing like the mansions in Gangnam, but it had 4 bedrooms and a yard where the boys could play. You don't have to do all this, Zora said when he showed her the house. I want to. Not to impress you or buy your forgiveness. Because they deserve a yard. Because you deserve stability. Please, let me do this. She walked through the space seeing possibilities. It's too much. It's not enough. But it's a start. They moved in on a Saturday. The boys explored every room with wide eyes. Each of them got their own bedroom for the first time ever. Chidi cried, happy tears, because he had a bed that was just his. Minho hired movers for their few possessions. Didn't comment on how little they had. Just made sure everything was transferred carefully. The plastic bins of clothes, the secondhand furniture, Obiora's drawings, Kalechi's counting books, Chidi's 5 trucks that became 20 trucks because Minho couldn't help himself. They fell into a rhythm, shared custody that was really more like co-parenting. Minho would pick up the boys from school. Zora handled mornings. They alternated bedtimes. Slowly, carefully, they built something functional. And somewhere in the carpools and the parent-teacher conferences and the scraped knees and the homework help, something shifted. Minho would catch Zora watching him with an expression that wasn't quite anger anymore. She'd laugh at his terrible attempts to cook jollof rice for the boys. They'd sit together at school events, and it felt almost natural. One evening, after the boys were asleep, they stood in his kitchen. She'd stayed late helping Kalechi with a math project. The house was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. "I miss you," he admitted, "not just as the mother of my children. I miss you. The way we used to talk. The way you used to look at me like I was someone worth believing in. You destroyed that." She didn't look at him. "4 years ago, you took everything good between us and threw it away because I wasn't the right color, the right class, the right everything for your world." "I know. Do you?" She turned. "Do you actually understand what it did to me? I loved you so completely. I believed every word you said. I would have followed you anywhere. And you threw me away like trash. I'm sorry." Inadequate words. "I'm so sorry." Sorry doesn't fix it, Minho. Sorry doesn't give me back the nights I cried until I couldn't breathe. Sorry doesn't erase the shame of showing up at your office pregnant and desperate while your security dragged me out. Sorry doesn't. Her voice broke. He reached for her, and she let him. Let him hold her while she cried 4 years of pain into his shirt. "I hate that I still feel anything for you," she whispered against his chest. "I hate that when you smile at the boys, my heart does stupid things. I hate that I want to believe you've changed." "You don't have to believe anything," he said into her hair. Just let me keep showing up. Keep being better, however long it takes. What if it takes forever? Then I'll spend forever earning your trust back." She pulled away, wiped her eyes. "You really burned it all down. The business, the reputation, your family relationships, all of it. Best thing I ever did." He gestured around them. "Second to this, to being here, being their father, being someone you might someday trust again. You're making it very hard to keep hating you. Good. Hate is exhausting. Maybe try tolerating me instead." "I'm already past tolerance," she admitted. "That's what scares me." 3 months later, they were cooking together. Some fusion disaster that was supposed to be Korean bulgogi with Nigerian spices. It ended up being delicious chaos. Zora had sauce on her cheek. Minho reached to wipe it off, and she caught his hand. "Though if we do this," she said seriously, "if we try again, you don't get to run when things get hard. You don't get to decide I'm not good enough again. This is it. Forever or nothing." "Forever," he said immediately. "I choose forever. I chose it the moment I saw our sons in that detention center and realized I'd wasted 4 years. I'll choose it every day for the rest of my life." "You hurt me so badly," she whispered. "I know. And I'll spend the rest of my life making up for it." She kissed him first, tentative and sweet and tasting like second chances. When they pulled apart, both of them were crying. "I love you," he said. "I never stopped. Even when I was trying to forget you, trying to move on, trying to pretend you didn't matter. I loved you. I love you. I'll love you until I stop breathing. I love you too," she admitted. "I hate that I do. But I love you. The person you are now. The father you've become. Even knowing you could hurt me again. I won't. I swear on our sons' lives. I'll never hurt you like that again." 6 months after that, he proposed. Not in a fancy restaurant or with a grand gesture. At the beach with all 5 of them. The boys were building sandcastles. Zora was laughing at something Chidi said, and Minho dropped to one knee in the sand. "Marry me." Simple words. No ring because he wanted her to choose it. Not because it's expected, or because we have children, or for any reason, except that I love you more than anything in this world, and I want to spend every day proving it. The boys started shrieking. "Do it, Mama. Say yes." Zora looked at him, at their sons, at the life they'd built from ashes. "Yes, you ridiculous man." Yes, the boy's dog piled them both. There was sand everywhere, sticky hands and joyful screams, and the taste of salt water and second chances. The wedding was small, just close friends and Zora's family flown in from Nigeria. Her mother who cried the entire ceremony. Her sisters who threatened Minho with bodily harm if he ever hurt Zora again. He accepted the threats gracefully. He deserved worse. Chidi, Kelechi, and Obiora were ring bearers. They spent more time making faces at each other than walking down the aisle. It was perfect. When Minho kissed his bride, his sons cheered louder than anyone. Later, during the reception, Zora found him standing alone watching the boys play. Having regrets? She teased. Never. He pulled her close. I regret the 4 years I wasted. I regret hurting you, but this, us, our family, this is everything. You really did burn down your empire for us. I built a better one. He gestured at their sons. This empire. Us. Nothing else even comes close. She kissed him softly. I'm glad you found us that day, in the detention center. I'm glad you gave me a second chance I didn't deserve. You earned it. Every day for over a year you showed up. You proved you changed. That's how you earn miracles. Then I'll keep earning it. Every day for the rest of our lives. Minho started a consulting firm. Small, flexible hours. Nothing like the empire he'd burned, but it paid the bills and let him coach the boys' soccer team. Let him be there for school pickups and homework help and everything that mattered. His mother tried to reconcile once, showed up at the house with apologies that rang hollow. Minho closed the door in her face. Family is what you choose, he told Zora later, and I choose you and those 3 boys. Anyone who can't accept that doesn't deserve space in our lives. Sometimes late at night, when Zora was asleep beside him, and he could hear their boys breathing in the next rooms. Minho would think about that day in the detention center. The worst day of his life that became the catalyst for the best decision he ever made. He'd burned his empire down, destroyed everything he thought mattered. And from the ashes, he'd built something real, something worth keeping, a family that chose each other. Love that survived the worst and came back stronger. Worth it. Every sacrifice, every burned bridge, every lost connection, because he had everything that mattered. And this time he'd never let go. Here's what I learned from Minho's story. Real wealth isn't measured in buildings or bank accounts. It's measured in bedtime stories and soccer games and the way your children run to you when you come home. It's measured in a partner who forgives the unforgivable and gives you a chance to be better. True empire isn't what you build for the world to see. It's what you build in the quiet moments, the family dinners, the homework help, the late night conversations, the choosing to show up every single day even when it's hard. Minho lost billions and won, but he gained everything that actually has value. 3 sons who call him Papa, a wife who chose to believe people can change, a life built on love instead of fear. Sometimes the best endings come after the worst beginnings. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find out what matters. And sometimes the person you become after you've burned it all down is the person you were supposed to be all along. So let me ask you this. What would you burn down for the people you love? What empire would you sacrifice for a second chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your stories about redemption and change and choosing what matters. If this story moved you, if it made you think about your own choices and priorities, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it's never too late to choose differently. And subscribe to this channel because we're building a community of people who believe in second chances, in redemption, in the power of actually changing instead of just talking about it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to Minho and Zora's story. Remember, the best time to make the right choice was years ago. The second best time is right now. I'll see you in the next story.